Hi, I'm Hazel. It's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I have been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week was a patch week, and to celebrate patch 10.2.5 launching, I want to round up my 4 best things to know. I hesitate to call them tips because there's only so many tips, but my 4 tips for the Azerothian Archives event. Thing number 1, it is cosmetic rewards only, so if you are a raid logger, you can safely skip this entire event. If you're not worried about transmog and mounts and pets and achievements, you can skip the whole thing and not be any worse off for it, so you don't need to worry about having to do it. Next, the Big Dig starts at half past the hour every hour, so once an hour at like 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, etc. It starts here at Trader's Rest, kind of halfway between Iskara and the Azerothian Archives in southwestern Azerspan, and you do not need to do any intro quests in order to come pick up the weekly quest or participate in the event. There are intro quests, and I'll get to that in a second, but you don't have to do them in order to do the event. Thirdly, during that event, if you are not currently doing a task for Eadweird, make a good use of your time by digging these piles, and if it's hard to dig them because there's a ton of people standing on top of them, you can use your interact key to start excavating without ever having to click on it. I've also heard you can click on the bar on the top of it to start excavating, but I didn't have a lot of luck with that, and the interact key works flawlessly. You can turn on the interact key in the settings, assign it to any key that you like, and then all you have to do is run up to a pile and then press your key to start excavating and make sure that you're helping. And finally, if you are after everything from the event and you want to maximize the achievements as well as fragments and reputation, don't neglect that intro quest line and the world quests that it unlocks. You can pick up the intro quest line from flyers around Veldraken. There is one in the inn, and it takes you through a tutorial of the different quest types that you'll encounter with the world quests. While you have the Techno Scryer goggles that Zenata gives you at the 3 tutorial areas in the intro quest, while you're wearing those, if you target Zenata and you /dance in each of those 3 spots, you will get the Goggle Wobble achievement, which is part of the meta achievement. You can get that done in the intro without having to wait for the world quest to come back around. So make sure you do that if you're looking for the achievements and you haven't done it yet. And finally, it looks like while you can pick up the weekly quest again in multiple alts, you only get that weekly dump of 5,000 fragments for your first weekly quest done per account. So you don't really need to do this in multiple alts, especially because it seems like you can buy all of the rewards in one character and send them around to different ones as needed. You might even want to use an alt for this that you don't play very much, so you can just park it at the dig site and not have to move it around and keep flying it back. Other things this week, with the addition of the Reclaiming Gilneas storyline, players have discovered how to get Lord Godfrey's spectacles. You can fish for these in the waters of Gilneas. Alliance and Horde players can both do it. The drop rate is not super crazy painful. Plenty of people have been reporting getting the goggles in 20 casts or less. For others, it takes a bit more. I've heard the high end being in like 100 to 200 casts to get them. But in any case, we're not looking at a pond nettle situation here. You should be able to go and fish for a bit and get your transmog. They look like this. They go delightfully with the new Archivist's transmog that you can get. And this item has been in the file since Cataclysm, so it's a big relief for some people to finally find out what this is from. In other things added this week, the Outland Cup is now available. That has begun. You can get a recolored version of the Drake Racer transmog from doing this, as well as a manuscript that randomizes your dragon customization when you mount up on that dragon. In a recent post, Blizzard has announced that they are changing the manuscript of Endless Possibilities into an account-wide toy. So once you've bought it once, you're good. I will say it has been much nicer flying around between the races for the Outland Cup now that we can actually dragon ride in the old world. It's a lot faster to get around. Other news this week, follower dungeons are now live, and this week Blizzard hotfixed the experience penalty for having AI followers in your dungeon down, so it is now more experience to do follower dungeons than it was on launch. This is great news for people that wanted to use follower dungeons to level alts. It is still not necessarily faster to level in follower dungeons compared to just spamming random normals, but it does have less strangers in it, and does eliminate the queue time if you're a DPS. In other things going on, Conquest is being uncapped next week, as well as the Spoils of War buff coming into play, so that's going to be 30% more Conquest and 40% more Honor, making next week a great time to jump into the PvP season if you want to work on getting your Vicious Moonbeast, maybe you want to collect some PvP sets, or perhaps you just want to climb the ladder for glory and honor. For whatever the reason may be, it will be much easier to get into PvP next week. I've been chipping away at Solo Shuffle slowly but surely because that Vicious Moonbeast is precious and I require it. And then in my life this week, I've been enjoying the digs a lot. I got the mount, I got the drop transmogs, and it seems like once you get that one color of the set, there's not a whole lot else that's dropping for you from the digs, but it's still been fun doing it for the reputation and the fragments. I don't know if you've seen this two-handed mace that's on the Azerothian Archives vendor, but it's making me want to put more time into characters that can use two-handed maces because that transmog is incredible. And then questions from this week. Andrew wants to know, do you know if the legendary weapons will be upgradable for Season 4? Our guild is trying hard to get our guys the axe, and it would be great if they could use it next season. So as far as I have heard, nothing is confirmed yet, but the way it worked in Shadowlands, because Shadowlands had a fated Season 4, and Shadowlands also had a legendary with the Sylvanas bow, there was a token that you could get in Season 4 that would upgrade the old version of the legendary to relevance. And I'm hoping that they do something similar for this Season 4 with Fearlath and then also with the Evoker Legendary Nazuro. It would be a massive bummer for people to put all of this work and all of this gold in just to not get to use them for Season 4, but I will say that nothing has been confirmed just yet. And then Office Fan asks, I have been struggling to make gold this expansion. Any tips to earn gold for the shiny new beetle mount? So one place that I like to look for new tips is Wowhead puts out a weekly economy write-up post that has usually really good tips for current gold making ideas, because that evolves over time and different things will kind of pop up and then become not as good. One fairly easy thing to do that is pretty popular but still profitable if you happen to have a bunch of alts is to park all of your alts out at the Tuskar Soup and then do the Tuskar Soup weekly quest in all of them for chances at the alchemical flavor pocket, which even now at this point in the season still sells for 50 to 70k gold each, and it's not uncommon for people with a fair number of alts to get a couple of those every week when doing that round, and you only have to do 5 soup tasks per alt, so you can get multiple alts done per soup. Aside from that, you can still do reasonably well with Gold World quests and Dragon races, especially if you can match the Dream Surge Magpies buff to Gold World quests in a zone. That can be pretty good. And those things are nice because they don't involve other people and they don't involve any startup capital. I've made my gold in Dragonflight from alchemy, and professions are still very good, but they do require a lot more lead time to get your knowledge points together, as well as some investment capital to begin with, so raw gold making might be more realistic at this point in an expansion. And then that has been the week. Thank you so much for watching. Stop by a stream sometime if you like. I stream 5 days a week on Twitch, 9 a.m. Pacific to about noon-ish, Wednesdays through Sundays. I appreciate you guys, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.